Let's start with the module 10 now. So secure identities. My name is Robin, and yeah, this is my Azure training. So we're almost to the end. So after module 10, there's only two more modules. But anyway, so this one I will break into three sessions. So each one with only, I think, 10 to 15 minutes, right? So we're going to talk about MFA, the Azure AIP. So this AIP stands for the identity protection, right? Not the information protection. It's two separate things. And SSPR, self-service password reset. So with the MFA, right? So this one, in general, so we recommend it. So even not we, it's Microsoft recommended. Just enable it for everyone, right? In your organization, everyone just enable FMA. Don't ask any questions. Just enable it, right? That's the best practice for security. But anyhow, so we're gonna talk about something a little bit more than that, just more than enabling. So the concepts, options you have, enabling, acquiring, and trusted IPs, one-time bypass, why you need that, fraud alerts, licensing, and the pricing. The last topic I hate, right? Okay, so the Azure MFA concepts. The Azure MFA helps you to safeguard any access to data and applications while maintaining the simplicity for users. So it provides additional security by requiring a second form of authentication. So and delivering strong authentication through a range of easy to use authentication methods. So for some company that needs to comply with some industrial standards you may have, so MFA is a must-have capability to authenticate users. So beyond being compliant with your standards, industrial standards, so enforcing MFA to authenticate users can also help organizations to mitigate kind of credential theft attacks, right? So the security of MFA is a two-step verification that's lies in its layered approach. Compromising multiple authentication factors prevents a significant challenge for attackers. So even an attacker, like a hacker, managed to learn your password, right? It's fairly easy. So it is useless without having a second form, additional layer of authentication method. So it can be something you know, so it's a password, something you have, a device, and a phone or tablets, whatever, and something you are. So it's biometric, which is nowadays we have the Face ID, we have the Touch ID, we have maybe Voice ID someday. So yeah, and options you have, it's fairly simple, right? Phone call, text message, mobile app notification, mobile app verification code. Yeah, I think if you haven't never used Azure once, you have used this for other applications or emails, right? So for some time you need to reset your emails, it requires an MFA, right? Actually, that's something we call conditional access. We got SSPR, right? We're gonna introduce in the third session, but yeah, anyone has experienced all of this, I believe, right? You have to verify. Someone says, okay, I received something called proof I'm not a robot. So that's not not the second factor authentication. So it's also a form of authenticate, but it only proves that you are not a robot, right? It's not because the robot can essentially answer the call as well, and then you know uh, it knows have ways to know your passphrase or PIN number, whatever, right? Okay. But yeah, I won't spend any time on this page because it's yeah, we all know this. So enabling the MFA, there's many ways to do that. So you can do from the let me just actually show you here to my here. So you can enable from here. So you select each users you have. You can see here manage multi-factor authentication. You can enable from here. So you click this one, it will actually redirect to you to the page we just saw. So you can enable one by one, or you can enable in bulk. But the page where the PowerPoint just show, right? This one, there's only certain limited users will be show, like 20 or 30. I don't remember. But yeah, so when you select all, you can only select limited, right? I cannot select everyone, right? I cannot select everyone. Sure, I can enable this for all this 19, so 20, 20 users at a time. But if I have, let's say, 2,000 users, I want to enable them all, right? You can click there's a PowerShell script actually somewhere. You can just apply them all of them in a CSV file and enable where this PowerShell command. do this bug update, right? So this actually allows to filter like you want these users or administrators, right? You can select, okay? You can choose which are enabled, which are enforced. And besides from doing here, you can also do from Azure, right? You can select the users, and you can see there's also a multi-factor authentication, right? Actually, this will browse into the same page, but yeah, it tells you like another place you can do this. And this is also important because I don't know, someone if you have E5 license, right? If you go to your protection, actually, .office.com to the Security and Compliance Center, the old one actually. So you actually see there is a attack simulator, right? You have. So that one actually requires you to enable MFA first. I forgot which one is it. I haven't fully loaded yet. So let's give a couple seconds to load threat management. I think, yeah, attack simulator, right? So this actually requires you to, uh, okay, so can launch attack or, okay. So I guess it's not now, but I remember before I asked you, like you have to have all this being able to simulate, to launch the attack, to simulate an attack on your user's account. But yeah, before it requires the MFA to be enabled. Okay, so yeah, just check your own tenant because I have enabled MFA for all the users before, and then I disabled that. So I don't know if that's something it didn't revert back or what. So yeah, check your own tenants. All right, let's switch back to the PowerPoint. So the requiring MFA, right? So the conditional access, which is the new idea we're going to talk. So the conditional access is it's the capability of Azure AD, actually Azure AD Premium license that enables you to enforce controls on the access to apps in your environment based on specific conditions from a central location. So with the Azure AD conditional access, you can factor how a resource is being accessed into an access control decision. So by using conditional access policy, you can apply the right access controls under the required conditions. The conditional access comes with 6 conditions. So user groups is one, okay, and cloud applications, device state, location, which is the IP range, and client application and sign risk. So all the 6 factors. So you can use the combination of these conditions to get the exact conditional access policy you need. Right. So notice on this image, the conditions determine the access control from previous topic. Right. So with the access control, conditional access control, you can either block or grant the access based on the conditions. Right. So you can have several options. So the condition access you can have require MFA from the Azure AD or on-prem MFA. So there is an on-prem MFA if you never heard this. And yeah, second is grant access to only trusted device, require domain joined device, require mobile device to use Intune app protection policies, and requiring the additional account verifications through MFA is a common conditional access scenario. Most of the case, so let's say a user, we have the conditional app, like the most popular one is the impossible travel distance, right? So I log in from, let's say I log in from Shanghai at 10:12, and then 5 minutes later I log in from Hong Kong. So that's to the Azure, to Microsoft is an impossible travel distance, right? So I cannot travel that fast. So yeah, I can use a VPN, but anyway, physical is not possible for me to get there. So he will prompt me for an MFA in that case to prove I'm still the user who claim to be, right? Another one is like a trusted location, the IP ranges. So that's also another common one. So let's say the users normally they stay in office, right, in US. Let's say in US, and you find that some users they log in from Pakistan or well, politics wise to Pakistan, US are not both these countries are not a trust location, right? So someone, let's say someone logging from there. Right, but as Chinese, we love Pakistan people and we respect American. Okay, so let's say he logged in from there, so it's untrusted IP. So he might get blocked, or he passed the conditional access and he being granted access to the resource. So and you can combine, right? You can combine all these policies together, or device state as well. Is this the most latest firmware we have or not, right? So blah blah blah. You can combine, play with all the policies you have. And trusted IPs, yeah, we introduced this. So this is the range of IPs you provide, right? So uh, also it's a feature to allow the federated user or IP ranges to bypass a two-step authentication. So notice there are two selections we saw here, right? Two selections. So which selection you can make depends on whether you have managed or federated tenants. So the managed tenants, for managed tenants, you can specify IP ranges, can skip the MFA. Federated tenants, for federated, you can specify IP ranges, and you can also exempt ADFS claim users. Right? You have the two options. So the trusted IP bypass works only from inside of the company intranet. So you can notice the IP address here. This is the intranet IP, right? This is not a public IP. So if you select all the federated users options and the user sign in from outside the company internet, CropNet, let's say, the user must authenticate by using the two-step verification. So the process is the same even if the user presents an ADFS claim, right? And the one-time bypass. So why you want to use one-time bypass, right? So why you want them to bypass the MFA? And it's only one time, right? It's not two time or three time or 10 time. So let's say sometimes you don't receive a call, or you are somewhere there's no reception, no signals, and you cannot receive notification as well. Right? We do get that. So sure so the Microsoft people say they receive billions of they process billions of authentications every day. So that's possible that let's say 20,000 people didn't get authenticated, not didn't get a phone call or the notification. So for me, I personally I have to say the time I've been working for Microsoft for the past more than three years. So there are I can remember more than 15 times I didn't get the notification or phone call. Right? It's not possible. So in this time, if I still want to access the data, then I can use the one-time bypass if that's being enabled. But if it's not being enabled, of course, I have to still waiting for the phone call, like an idiot, or just to call my IT, right? So fraud alerts. So configure the fraud alerts feature so that your user can report some face attempt to access their resource. You can report fraud attempts by using the mobile app or through their phone. Block users who fraud is reported. If a user report fraud, their account is blocked for 90 days or until administrator unblocks their account. So the admin can review the sign by using the sign report and take the appropriate actions to prevent future fraud. So admin can then unblock the user's account. The code to report fraud during initial greeting when user receives a phone call to perform a two-step verification, they normally press the hash key to confirm their sign, right? So the 6 digits plus the hash key. To report the fraud, user enters the code before pressing the hash key. The code is 0 by default, but you can customize to let's say 999 or 000. So block users. Fraud is reported. If a user reports fraud, their account is blocked for the number of days we just talked about, and the admin have to review the sign and to unblock it. All right. So, but this is to my memory, the organizations they enable this, but barely I heard any user report a fraud. So sometimes the user, I do, there are some cases the user receive a phone call, ask for authenticate, but the case is you know, it's, I don't remember the specific case, but yeah, so this is seldom used. So it's recommended to have and do the trainings for user to let them aware you have this way to report. But it's, yeah, it's almost never happened, I have to say, almost never happened, right? Okay, let's talk about the last topic, the licensing, right? So there are three pricing methods for the MFA, right? The consumption is based on the billing, so the Azure MFA is available as a standalone service with per user and per authentication billing option. So per user, you can pay per user. It shows as unlimited authentications. So use this model if you know how many users you have and can accurately estimate your cost. And another is per authentication. You can pay for a bundle, let's say 10 authentications. So use this model when you are unsure of how many users will participate in the FMA authentication, right? The MFA license, including other products as well. So in AD Premium, Azure AD Premium, Enterprise Mobility Suite EMS, and Enterprise Cloud Suite. Also, there are these direct and volume licensing. The MFA is available through the Microsoft Enterprise Agreement, the Open Volume Licensing Program, the Cloud Solution Program, Provider Program, and direct as an annual user based on model. But if you choose, let's say, per authentication, so on normal case, let's say there should be like once you authenticate, you don't have to authenticate again for uh, let's say at least of a day. I have to say, right? Normally 7 days, but you can say like just for this day. So the user needs to, let's say, authenticate one or twice, because sometimes you may have to use the in private mode, incognito mode, right? So there's two more. So let's say you have 3 authentication per day, let's say. That's maximum per user, right? So 10 user, that's 30 times per day. So just calculate your price on that. And right. So the next session we're going to be talking about the Azure AD identity protection.